Programming because we have a very large fire burning in Lakehead. It has been called the Delta Fire. The U.S. Forest Service saying it is between 500 and 1,000 acres. I-5, as you can see, it has been shut down. Law enforcement has been asking everyone to stay away from I-5, and if they were on the highway, they were asked to get off the highway immediately. Now, first responders, this is very critical because they cannot get their units up there to help to evacuate people, so they have asked us to ask you to please self-evacuate and spread the word to your friends, your family, and your neighbors. Anyone in that vicinity, it is time to get out. It is not safe to be in those areas. According to the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, an evacuation center, it will be opening at the Mount Shasta Community Center that's located at 629 Alder Street in Mount Shasta. The fire started at Delta Vollmer's exit. It's burning on both sides of the highway, and it is burning north at a very high rate of speed. They are evacuating everything north of Delta to the Siskiyou County line, including Vollmer's, Lemoyne, Pollard Flat, Gibson, Fisher, and Costilla. There have been drivers actually trapped on I-5. Truck drivers had to abandon their trucks. They had to jump into cars to get away. One truck driver has been burned, and once again, he had to be treated at the scene, and that's the only injury we've been told of so far. Southbound I-5 is closed at Mott. Northbound I-5 is closed at Fondale. I-5 is closed down, and law enforcement is telling everyone to stay away from the area, avoid I-5 at all costs, and please get off of the highway. We're also being told that the Lakehead rest area on southbound I-5 north of Lakehead has also been evacuated and is closed. First responders can't get their units up there to evacuate, so they're asking people to self-evacuate at this time. Tell your neighbors, spread the word to your loved ones. Everyone in that area needs to get out. The U.S. Forest Service said full aircraft and ground response has been ordered. Several other fire agencies are also responding, including CAL FIRE, as well as the Redding Fire Department. Right now on the phone, I have Pardeep Mali. Pardeep, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, Pardeep, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. You are on I-5 when the fire started. You sent in some video to us. We thank you so much for taking the time to do that. And you saw the cars turning around. You were in the middle of all the chaos. Tell us about the experience.
So how exactly happened was I was coming down on 5 South near Lakehead, and I mean, we seen a fire in the distance, and they had blocked off the highway. At first, it was not a big deal. People were standing outside, taking pictures of it. But that fire actually, not even, I want to say within probably like less than 5 minutes, had spread out all the way to the I-5, north and south. At one point, all the cars going southbound were just making U-turns since the freeway was blocked off. I seen an 18-wheeler with his tires were set ablaze. They're punctured, and he just kept driving. It was complete pandemonium. I'm a truck driver, and obviously you know that we couldn't turn around, so we just had to leave our vehicles, abandon our trucks there, and run towards the opposite way of the fire.
So after this happened, what was your plan of escape? How did you get out, Pardeep?
So I packed my, obviously my phone, my backpack, and my wallet. I tried running out. I asked a few people while they're driving away, they're speeding away, if they could help me, I mean, I was ignored. I mean, I don't blame them in that situation, because when you're put in a situation like that, you're panicking, and first thing comes to mind is safety. So standing out there for a few minutes, it was just, the fire was so hot, I couldn't take it, and there's a lot of debris and soot and ash just flying. And I actually inhaled some and burned my lungs, so I went actually back into my truck, sat down, and luckily there was, a firefighter, and I asked him if he could help me out, get me to safety, and he actually let me sit in his truck for the meantime for about 30, 35 minutes or so till the fire died down a bit.
And then what happened after that? Is your truck still out on the highway, Pardeep?
Yes, it was actually out on the highway. While I was waiting for the firefighter, he helped me make contact with a CHP officer. And the CHP officer asked me, I told him that, I'm a truck driver. My truck's actually parked on the highway. He told me if I can to get out of there ASAP, because he said that the fire is somewhat controlled, but he's like, it might resurge again. So it was me and another truck driver. We just got out of there. Just to add on to it, a lot of truck drivers dropped their trailers in the middle of the highway and just took their, truck unit and just drove off. So getting out of there was even a hassle. But luckily, I'm glad that I'm okay and I made it out of there safe.
And we're looking at the video that you sent in, Pardeep, and it looks like pandemonium, as you said, and chaos. I can't imagine how just frightened and afraid you must have been. Can you just talk about the emotions that you were experiencing?
Absolutely, yeah. It was absolutely surreal. It was something that you see in movies, and then when it's in front of you, it's happening in real life. It's panic because at the time, first of all, you don't know if, the best thing to do is stay inside your vehicle or you should, make a break for it. But like I said, it's, lucky for me that firefighter made contact with them. He let me sit in his truck for the time being while they're fighting the fire. And so, I should have gotten his name, but, hats off to the fire department out there and hats off to CHP and police department, everybody involved.
And then can you just tell us, where are you right now and how did you ultimately get off of the highway?
Like I said, at that time, they had barely cleared enough space. From what the CHP officer told me, he said, we've cleared enough space to let the trucks and the cars that are trapped in the beginning so they can, manage to get out. So the people that were, trapped in the pocket, that were at the forefront of the blaze, they were able to get out. I'm long past the fire right now. I'm actually past Corny. And the rest of the cars that were behind us, they were actually, told exactly to turn around and go back.
And Pardeep, you said you are a truck driver. Where were you driving from? Where were you en route to?
Say that again?
You mentioned earlier that you are a truck driver. Where were you driving from and where were you on your way?
Well, I'm coming from Springfield, Oregon, and I was actually driving to the Bay Area. Was headed home.
And have you ever experienced anything like this in your career, Pardeep?
No. And I pray to God that I will not have to go through that again.
And when we're looking at the video that you shot, and you said the air quality, the visibility itself, just not too good right there. And you said you breathed in a lot of soot, ash, smoke. Can you talk a little bit more about just the physical impact this was having on you?
Yeah, well, right now, I feel like, my lungs on the inside, it's like, you inhale literally smoke or something, very bad. And I kind of feel it in my lungs and in my throat. When, like I said, I didn't know if I should stay outside because I think it was easier to sit inside with all that soot and there's ashes flying in my eye. Despite having my mouth covered with one of my sweaters, it was still not cutting it.
And what was the reaction from the other drivers on the road at that time?
Believe it or not, there was actually two other truck drivers that stayed in their trucks that were right next to me. Two of them were both in front of me. But I think there was about 70 other truck drivers who just abandoned their trucks. They actually got in other random people's pickup trucks in the back of the pickup truck and drove off the opposite way from the fire. So there was a lot of people that just abandoned their vehicles, were hopping in with one another and going the opposite direction. Because like I said, that fire, when it just came so quick, you had no time to prepare for it.
And you actually mentioned just even feeling the heat from the fire. What was that like?
Yeah, the heat. Oh man, that was. That's one of the partial reasons I came back to my truck. When I was outside, there was a wind with the fire. I'm guessing that's why it expanded so rapidly. But yeah, I figured if I stayed out there with that heat and the wind, I was probably just gonna burn myself, alive out there standing outside. So it was really hot. It was hot air, all everywhere. And then I decided to come back, sit in my truck instead, and wait it out.
And watching your video, we can actually just hear you cough, and that's not just a normal cough. I mean, it sounds like you were inhaling some dangerous debris there. You can actually even see a piece of ash there on your mouth.
Yeah, no, definitely. For like the next hour and a half, I was really coughing really bad. It just actually settled down. I wanted to about 20, 30 minutes ago, but I still feel like, you know, like my insides that they've been burned. You know, or there's like, yeah, soot or ashes in there. So.
And where are you right now, Pardeep, and what is your plan now for the rest of the night?
Well, you know, like I said, I'm headed home right now. You know, I'm going to spend some, you know, time with my loved ones. I'm glad that I'm okay, you know, and, you know, go home and cherish this moment, you know, because who knows what can happen at any given moment. And you shouldn't take life for granted.
Pardeep, we can't thank you enough for taking the time to stop and take this video, to send it in to us, and then, you know, you could be on your way home right now and you're calling us and recounting your story. So we thank you so much for doing that. And we're just so happy for your safety and that you're safe tonight. So thank you so very much, and we pray for a safe journey home for you. Thank you so much. That was Pardeep Malhi, recounting his horrific experience out there on I-5 tonight. He's a truck driver on his way back to the Bay Area and had to be evacuated from the highway, so we're happy that he is safe. I'm sorry? All right, well, we do have some Caltrans cameras right now through the Delta Fire area, and we're going to take some of those photos for you. You can see heavy smoke on this image right here. No one, thankfully, can be seen on the roads at that point in time. Roads are thankfully empty, so that is a good thing. And also, are we going to see any other images here, Vince? Okay. So as you can see, we just have this one image from the Caltrans camera right here about that huge plume of smoke. And here's some more video right now that we received from Kayla Totherose. She says that she was actually swimming at the water hole near Volmers and was leaving when she filmed this. Is this the right video, Vince? Okay. And she posted this to Facebook. She sent this to us also on Facebook. You can see how quickly those flames are spreading, how close they are to the highway. That black smoke, never a good sign right there. So we want to take a moment, though, to thank everyone for sending in their images, their videos. It's such a dangerous experience, and yet you're taking the time to do this so we can see how dangerous and how critical it is to stay safe, evacuate these areas. So thank you to all the viewers for taking the time to do that. Right now, let's go on and head over to Rob Elvington in the Weather Center for a look at conditions right now. Rob?
All right, thank you. And let's take a look at the infrared product. This is from the GO-16 satellite, and you'll notice that the Delta Fire is burning extremely hot right now. When you start to see these yellows, these white and orange colors showing up, that's showing that there's a lot of heat coming off this fire. So it's a very active, intense fire. You'll notice as you look at all these other fires that are burning in Northern California and into Southwest Oregon, mainly just the reds, not as intense as what we're seeing right now with the Delta Fire. Of course, this is the Kirtland Fire. This is also a new fire that is burning right by the Trinity-Humboldt County line. This is closer to High and Palm. This is between Highway 299 and Highway 36, so between those two highways. But all eyes right now on the Delta Fire burning in northern Shasta County, north of Lakehead, mainly north of the Volmers area now. So let's take a look at our regular weather graphics, and we'll start off by taking a look at the Lakehead Caltrans camera. Of course, this is Interstate 5, and I'm showing this, of course, you can see the big giant smoke plume, but you'll notice other than the main smoke plume, we've got very clear blue skies in place. So that's why it's so important to get in as many drops before sunset tonight, because as we start to cool off here in the overnight hours, a lot of the smoke is going to start to settle, and it's really going to limit visibility heading into tomorrow morning and into the early afternoon hours. It takes a little while for that overnight inversion to break up and start to clear out a lot of this smoke. So typically on the first day of the fire, that's when you're often seeing some of the best visibility if, of course, you're down or should say upwind of the smoke and the fire. But again, this will be an issue heading through the next 12 hours. Current conditions, and this is from the Antlers weather station. This is along Interstate 5. I was using the Vollmer's weather station earlier, but that is now offline. 92 degrees at the latest update. Relative humidity values at 13%, so very dry air in place. And surface winds are from out of the east and southeast at 7 miles per hour, gusting to 12. Keep in mind, this is just one location. You get a little bit closer to the fire, you're likely going to find different observations at this point. The winds turn quite a bit in these canyons, very steep terrain, and then low-lying spots. So the winds do quite a bit of turning in those areas. Redding at the airport right now, 98 degrees, and you'll notice very dry air coming up from the valley and into northern Shasta County. Relative humidity values right now in Redding at 10%. Look at the fuels. This is the other big concern. It's been a very hot, one of the top 3 hottest summers on record for California, including Northern California. So we've got extremely dry fuels in place right now. The blue line is the current season, and you'll notice that we've basically separated from the long-term average well back into May. So ever since about May, we've had above normal fuels in terms of energy release component. And you'll notice it dropped off a little bit about a week ago, and that was due to some cooler weather, some higher relative humidity values. But since then, with that hot, dry weather over the Labor Day weekend, the fuels have already responded to that short-term weather, and we're already back above the 97th percentile. So that's what's going on right now with the fuels in that area. The fire is burning off to the west of the Hearst fire perimeter. This is the Hearst fire that's been burning for about a month now. So the Delta fire off to the west, and it's moving north. So unfortunately, it's not moving into already burned fuels in this area. It's moving off to the north right now because of those southerly winds. So you have unburned fuels that the fire is going through right now. Visible satellite, you can clearly pick out the Delta fire, main smoke plume moving off to the north. And again, once you head south of the fire, you've got fairly clear skies. So some really good visibility for incoming aircraft from out of the south and even from out of the west. Again, this is the Kirtland fire. This is burning right on the Trinity-Humboldt County line and the High Palm area. We also have evacuations with that fire, so we're watching that very closely. And we'll zoom in closer to the radar, still getting extremely high returns on the radar. And what the radar is picking up, it's not picking up the flames, it's not even really picking up the smoke, it's picking up all the debris, the ash, the leaves, all of that is being wafted into the atmosphere. So that's what the radar's picking up. And this animation, it's only over the last hour, but if you look close enough, watch the bottom returns. You'll notice how they're kind of slowly moving off to the north. So you'll notice that the fire is moving pretty quickly to the north. This is just a 1-hour animation, so it kind of gives you an idea of the direction that the fire is burning in, north and northeast right now. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. Again, Pollard Flat actually off to the south now of some of these higher returns. There's Fisher, Gibson area. And of course, as you head further off to the north, you're heading closer to the Shasta-Siskiyou County line. We'll take another look at the Kirtland fire. That main smoke plume is taking off to the north and northwest. So this area right here is the area that's likely seeing some burning right now. This is near, again, the High Palm area. That is the Humboldt-Trinity County line. And let's take a look at the winds. These are the winds as we head through the next 30 minutes. South winds right up through the valley, all the way through the Delta fire. And these are pretty strong winds. We have sustained winds between 10 to 20 miles per hour, but higher gusts. And then you'll notice closer to the Kirtland fire, more of a west-northwesterly wind, kind of a transition zone between the winds as you head further into Trinity County, away from the Kirtland fire. Winds will drop off some through the overnight hours. That's expected. And then by tomorrow morning, fairly light winds, even some northerly winds. So a lot of that smoke's going to start to get pushed south through the canyon, likely back through the city of Shasta Lake and into the Redding area. And it's going to really cut down on visibility. So that's the big concern. Once we get past sunset tonight, visibility is going to drop off due to, of course, the sun going down and then all that smoke starting to collapse down closer to the surface. But once again, tomorrow, south winds taking off. And this is something that we were showing yesterday. This is the big concern for today. We've got really dry air in place. We've got really dry fuels in place, and we've got some gusty winds. So the fire danger rating, and this is for today, so this is what's happening right now. The fire danger rating closer to the Delta fire, it's right as you head into some of these oranges on the map. And this is from the National Interagency Fire Center. Very high fire danger ratings, even closer to extreme off to the northeast of the Delta fire. And then closer to the Kirtland fire, we even have some oranges showing up indicating very high. And again, this is based on both dead and alive fuels plus the weather forecast for today. So that was the big concern going into today. And unfortunately, we are seeing an intense fire taking off in both Trinity, Humboldt County, and even into northern Shasta County. Air quality next level is not bad right now, but of course, this will be changing heading through the next 12 to 18 hours as a lot of that smoke from all these fires starts to settle in the overnight hours. So unfortunately, a ways to go with the Delta fire. It is still extremely active on the radar right now. No signs of slowing down at this point. Back to you.
Thank you, Rob. In case you're just joining us, we broke into our regular programming around 3:30 earlier because we have this very large fire burning in Lakehead, the Delta fire. The U.S. Forest Service says it's between 500 and 1,000 acres. I-5 closed down. Law enforcement telling everyone to simply stay away and to get off the highway. Extremely important information there because first responders, they can't even get their units up there to help to evacuate people. So they are asking you to please self-evacuate and be sure to spread the word and tell your neighbors, your family, your friends, any loved ones in that area. It is time to get out and evacuate. And according to the Shasta County Sheriff's Office and Evacuation Center, they will be opening at an evacuation center will be opening at the Mount Shasta Community Center. That's located at 629 Alder Street in Mount Shasta. This fire started at Delta Vollmer's exit. It is burning on both sides of the highway and it is burning north. They are evacuating everyone north of Delta to the Siskiyou County line. So that includes Vollmer, Lemoyne, Pollard Flat, Gibson, Fisher, and Costella. There have been drivers actually trapped down there on I-5, and truck drivers had to abandon their trucks and jump into cars to get away. One truck driver has been burned. He was treated, but that was the only injury that we have been told about so far. Southbound I-5 also closed at Mott. Northbound I-5 closed at Fawndale. I-5 closed down, and law enforcement telling everyone to stay away and get off of that highway. We're also being told that the Lakehead rest area on southbound I-5 north of Lakehead has been evacuated and also closed. First responders cannot get their units up to this area. I want to really reiterate this. They cannot get up there to evacuate people, so they're asking us to ask you to please evacuate, and please take it upon yourself to ask your neighbors, your loved ones, your family, your friends, anyone in these areas to evacuate. The U.S. Forest Service said that full aircraft and ground response has been ordered. Several other fire agencies are also responding right now, including CAL FIRE as well as the Reading Fire Department. Let's take a look at some video sent in to us from our viewer Andy Wardinsky from the Lemoyne exit. This was taken around 3:30, right when we went on air this afternoon. As you can see the proximity of those flames, that black plume of smoke rising high into the air, and just how close it is to I-5 right there. You can see those cars were forced to turn around and actually evacuate, go the wrong way on the road in order to get out. But we've been talking to several people, several drivers, a truck driver, another person named Joe from Red Bluff. He was stuck out there on I-5. He had to take 89 to get to safety. They all tell us that everyone was very cooperative. Everyone seemed to be getting out of there with no problem. But some truck drivers, as we have mentioned, did have to leave their trucks out there and take rides with people in cars. So, and they've also learned that their trucks have been burned. So it's quite a mess out there on I-5. Both sides of the highway there, that fire is burning. So critical to stay off of the highway right there. Just take a moment to look at this picture. This picture just, it speaks for itself when you see an image like this, just how dangerous and fast spreading that the Delta fire is right now. And we also want to take a look at that video from Pardeep Mali. We got off the phone with him just a few moments ago. He was there on I-5 when the fire started. We talked to him earlier. He was in a truck. You can hear him coughing there. He was inhaling all the soot and ash that was coming down. And he was kind enough to call us and recount his story. Truck driver, once again, he's heading from Oregon to the Bay Area. He, like many others, had to abandon his truck. And we know that some vehicles actually burned after being abandoned in the Delta fire area right here on I-5. And right now, can we take a look at some of those Caltrans cameras that we have through the Delta fire area? Here you can see an image right here, that plume of smoke, more white smoke, so that's always a good sign right there, but you can see that heavy smoke. No one, thankfully, can be seen on the road right there, so that is good news. Everyone hopefully did get out safely. And some video that we received from Facebook from Kayla to the row. She says that she was actually swimming at the water hole near Vollmer's and was leaving when she filmed this video. And you can see just how close those flames are to I-5 right there. And I'm sorry, Vince? Yes, definitely. So we're going to try to get some more insight from Rob on, actually, okay. actually. Please just bear with us. We've got a lot going on. We've got reporters in the field that, and I'm just being told right now that we have our own Sade Brown. She is live and she is joining us with what she knows. Sade, can you tell us where you are?
Hi, I'm here live on exit 707, which is right off of Dog Creek Road. You can see some of the smoke and the flames right behind me. I've been here since 3, and there's been a lot of air attack. I've never seen anything like it. So the fire is moving fast, going north and northeast. They're using all air resources going back and forth. They've been using the Sacramento River. Right now, I do have a PIO that's coming up with me right now. Her name is Debbie. She's a PIO for the U.S. Forest Service. Debbie, how are you?
I am good.
So what is the initial attack, if you could just step a little closer? So what is your plan of attack? What are you guys doing so far with this fire? I know that it grew from 1,000 to 1,500, correct?
Correct, it did. As you can hear, we have air attack going, and we also have direct and indirect attack. So that means the firefighters are going directly at the flames is direct, and indirect is they're stepping back, finding a safe zone, and putting line in and letting the fire come to them.
Okay, so is there any new evacuations in place so far? I know that there was an evacuation from Vollmer up to Gibson Road, correct?
Correct. Okay. And also Dog Creek Road has been evacuated as well.
Okay, so what should people look out for? Where is this fire moving currently?
The fire is moving north. And to my knowledge, it's not heading towards any homes at this time except for down in Dog Creek. But people need to be ready. If you're in the area, you need to pack your important papers, get your animals ready, get a go bag ready, a change of clothes and stuff that you might need if you're asked to evacuate it, so that you're not trying to pack these things when they come knocking on your door.
And is there any challenges that you guys are facing? I know it is a hot day so far. Is the humidity, what is the weather playing a factor into this fire?
This afternoon, the winds came up quite a bit, and that played a huge factor in the fire. This evening, though, we're supposed to have higher humidity, and the winds are supposed to die down. So that shall help the firefighters.
And how many resources? I know that we took some of the resources from the Carr Fire and Hearst Fire to help with the Delta Fire, correct?
Correct. They all came in on initial attack. These were resources that were safe to remove from those fires and come down and help, because this was the emergency, which it still is. We're still in initial attack.
So initial attack, what does that mean? Does that mean all hands on deck?
Correct. Initial attack is someone spotted the fire. They start dispatching people right away. The first person gets to the fire, takes over the incident commander, checks everything out, and then starts ordering resources. So that's how we got all these helicopters and planes here so quickly. We called both fires. They sent people. The city of Redding, Cal Fire, Shasta County, and the Shasta County sheriffs all came in immediate response to initial attack.
So moving forward, I know that it will get later on in the evening. Are there any challenges you guys may be facing heading in, or is this a good thing that, temperatures are going to be coming down for you guys?
It is a good thing that temperatures will be coming down, and as you can see, the winds are calming. And then again, the humidity will raise up, and that is moisture. So that's going to help as well. But because we're in initial attack, we probably will have crews here for 24 hours or longer.
Thank you so much, Debbie.
Oh, you're welcome.
So I'm going to send it back to you guys live on Dog Creek Road. Sade Brown, KRCR News, Channel 7.
Thank you so much for that report, Sade. We really appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back with continuing coverage of the Delta fire. Stay with us.
California Phones offers free specialized phones like cordless phones, big button and volume enhanced phones. Get details on this state program. Call 1-800-330-5100 or visit californiaphones.org.
Lending a hand can be so easy, we don't even have to think about it. At U.S. Lending, we believe in that spirit, in helping whenever and wherever possible. Our mission is to help people achieve their home ownership goals. We do that by valuing relationships, our staff, and excellence. And when all is said and done, a handshake. When our clients can buy their dream home because we lent a hand, well, we've been training for that all along.
It's time for the 3rd annual Hot Q's and Cold Brews at Feather Falls Casino Saturday, September 15th. This is the real deal. A KCBS sanctioned cook-off. Expert BBQ teams will compete for a California State Championship and $25,000 in cash prizes. They'll serve up mouth-watering chicken, ribs, pork roast, and brisket. 5 tastings are only $10. Don't miss Hot Q's and Cold Brews at Feather Falls Casino. Admission is free and open to all ages.
Downtown Chico invites you to the 33rd Annual Taste of Chico on Sunday, September 23rd from 12 to 4 p.m. Enjoy the finest bites and sips from local restaurants, plus a kids zone, an art fair at the Plaza Stage, and the Coors Light Cold Zone Beer Garden, featuring great music by headliners Mojo Green. Tickets are on sale now for Taste of Chico at downtownchico.com. Thanks to Coors Light, Diamond W, Dragon Graphics, Tri-Counties Bank, and all of our sponsors. See you there.
Now California Phones offers free devices and accessories for your mobile phone, like this device to increase volume on your cell phone. Get details on this state program, call 1-800-330-5100 or visit californiaphones.org.
Welcome back. We are continuing our coverage of the Delta fire burning in Lakehead right now. The U.S. Forest Service saying that it's about 1,500 acres. I-5 is closed down and law enforcement is telling everyone to stay away and get off of I-5. This is extremely important information for you because first responders cannot get their units up there to help evacuate people, so they are asking you to please self-evacuate and tell your neighbors and your friends, your family, all of your loved ones in this area to please grab what you can and self-evacuate. According to the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, an evacuation center is opening up at the Mount Shasta Community Center. That's at 629 Alder Street in Mount Shasta. This fire started at Delta Volmer's exit. We do not know what caused this fire just yet, but it is burning on both sides of the highway and it is burning north. They're evacuating everything north of Delta to the Siskiyou County line, including Volmer's, Lemoyne, Pollard Flat, Gibson, Fisher, and Costella. We've also learned that Dog Creek Road is evacuated. There have been drivers actually trapped out on I-5 earlier. Truck drivers actually had to abandon their trucks and jump into cars to get away. One truck driver was burned. He had to be treated, and that is the only injury that we have been told about so far. Southbound I-5 closed at Mott, northbound I-5 closed at Vondale. I-5 closed down, and law enforcement telling everyone to stay away and get off of the highway. We're also being told that the Lakehead rest area on southbound I-5 north of Lakehead has been evacuated and closed. This is extremely important as well because, like we just mentioned, those first responders, they have no way to get their units up there to help to evacuate. So they are asking you to self-evacuate and to spread the word to your neighbors, your friends, your loved ones, anyone in this area. It is time to go. The U.S. Forest Service said full aircraft and ground response has been ordered. Several other fire agencies are also responding, including CAL FIRE and the Redding Fire Department. Right now, we're going to take a look at weather right now because it is very, very critical right now with this firefight. The aerial attack right now, they only have a few hours left where they can be fighting this fire from the air, which is crucial right now. Rob?
Yeah, and I tell you what, they really need to get a lot of work in on this fire because, as you just mentioned, the sun will be going down. Of course, a lot of that smoke will start to settle as we head through the overnight hours and into tomorrow morning. This is the infrared product, still a very active fire. As you start to see these yellows showing up, that's showing a very intense fire. A lot of heat coming off this for the satellites to pick up. Let's switch back over to my graphics if we can. And I wanted to show this. This is something I've been watching very closely over the last 30 to 45 minutes. The main smoke plume from the Delta fire has shot up quite a bit, above 30,000 feet. Radar putting the top or the tops of the plume closer to about 33,000 feet right now. It was closer to about 20,000 feet about 20-30 minutes ago. So that plume has really shot up, likely a pyrocumulus on top. So if you're looking off to the north right now, you've likely noticed that that smoke plume really taking off just in the last 30 to 45 minutes. Current conditions right now, this is at the Antlers Weather Station. This is south of the Delta fire. This is kind of in the northern part of Shasta Lake. Humidity values at 13%. Winds out of the southeast at 2 miles per hour, gusting to 9 miles per hour. Keep in mind, this is just at one point in time. This is just an observation. These are changing minute by minute, but this is just the latest observation. And of course, this is not exactly at the fire, so conditions likely a little bit different as you head closer to the Delta fire. At the Reading Airport, 98 degrees right now, south wind at 11 miles per hour, humidity at 10%, very dry air in place today. And there's what I was just talking about. If you look on the visible satellite, you can see that pyrocumulus cloud taking off towards the end of this animation. That black that you see off to the east, that is actually the shadow being cast by this pyrocumulus cloud. That's over 30,000 feet right now. And the main smoke plume is moving off to the northeast. You'll also notice that the Curlin fire, this is closer to the Trinity-Humboldt County line. That main smoke plume is moving off to the north and northwest, but you can really see that pyrocumulus cloud taking off towards the end of this animation, and you can see just so much fire activity right now on the radar. Smoke plume is moving off to the northeast, but where you start to see these darker greens, the yellows, those higher returns on the radar, that's where you're seeing likely the most intense burning activity right now with the Delta fire, and what it's picking up on is all that debris that is being lofted into the atmosphere. And if you watch close enough of this 1 hour animation, you'll notice how the highest returns are kind of slowly moving to the north and northeast. So it kind of gives you an idea of the movement of this fire. And this is only a 1 hour animation, so a lot of movement with this fire to the north just in this hour observation. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. Again, we were tracking this fire, about 2 hours ago, and it was well south of Pollard Flat. And you'll notice Pollard Flat now off to the south and southeast of the highest returns. And in case you're wondering, the Hearst fire, that burn perimeter, is off to the east. It's east of Interstate 5. So this is burning, unfortunately, in unburned fuels at this point. So let's take a look at this, and it actually looks like it's starting to collapse a little bit. I was just looking at this before I came on air, but the top of this was actually over 30,000 feet. So this is a 3D volume scan from the radar, but you'll notice that the top of that plume, or that pyrocumulus cloud, closer to about 30,000 feet right now, but this shot up from about 20,000 feet to 30,000 feet in about 5 to 10 minutes, and that's a big concern in terms of circulations in these fires, because you get a lot of what's called stretching as that smoke plume takes off, and actually allows for a little bit of a circulation to spin up. So if you look close enough, you've got some reds showing up right next to these greens. So right there, that's a little bit of a circulation that's involved in this smoke plume right now. So as you see some of these reds, those are winds that are going away from the radar side, which is up in Medford, and then greens are going towards the radar side. So I'm actually going to stop the radar real quick and kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Of course, after the car fire, we always get concerned when you see these circulations spin up, because it really increases the fire activity. So you've noticed, let me back it up to about right here. As we zoom in a little bit closer to the fire, we've got some red pixels showing up. So that's indicating winds that are going away from the radar site. And then as you head closer to this area, these brighter greens, you've got winds that are going away from or going towards the radar site. So you've got a little bit of a circulation right here. Actually, let's try that one more time. You've got a little bit of a circulation right here, and that's right where we're seeing that giant smoke plume taking off. So that's why you have to watch when these giant plumes take off. You get a little bit of a circulation that could develop, and that could maybe spin up a few fire whirls, or of course what we saw with car fire, a little bit stronger than that. There's a look at the Curlin fire. This is burning just east of the county line into Trinity County, and you'll notice maybe not as intense as it was about an hour ago, but you can see that main smoke plume moving off to the north and northwest. Winds as we head through the next 30 minutes or so, pretty strong south winds right up the valley into the Delta fire, but as the winds drop off in the overnight hours, that's going to allow for a lot of that smoke to start to settle, and that's going to limit visibility. So as those aircraft try to take off, it's going to be tough tomorrow morning and into the afternoon hours. So that's why they're trying to get in as many air tacs, and of course get all the helicopters they can before the sun goes down in the next 2 hours. Tamara, if you're ready, I'm going to throw back to you and get the latest on the Delta fire. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, Rob. Here's some video from Andy Wardinsky sent in to us from a bit earlier when cars were trapped on I-5. They were being asked to turn around on the highway and to evacuate. We spoke with a man named Joe from Red Bluff earlier. He was one of the people who were stuck out there on I-5. He had to take Highway 89 in order to get out of there. So you can just see from this picture, it speaks for itself just how dangerous and fast moving this is. And the proximity to I-5, it was just critical for everyone to get off of I-5. It is burning on both sides of the highway, as you can see. So thankfully, we haven't heard any reports of any injuries except for one truck driver who did sustain a burn injury, but they were treated. And of course, we hope that that is that is the extent to the injuries that we hear from this fire, from the Delta fire. So an incredible picture sent in from our viewer Andy Wardinsky. If you were in the area and you have images that you can send in to us, please do so. It's very important for us to show the public so that they can see just how dangerous this is, to bring these images to people at home so that they can see how critical it is to get out of the area. If you are being evacuated in these areas, you got to do it. You've got to get out now. It is not safe to be in these areas right now. So thanks so much to people like Andy Wardinsky for sending in this video and those images to us. And I've been told we may have our own Sade Brown on. We do not have Sade yet. All right, this is more video then from Pardeep Mali. We actually spoke to him a bit earlier. He's a truck driver who was on I-5 when the fire started. You can hear him coughing there. And if you look really closely, you can see he's got an ember actually on his lip there. He was telling me just how thick that smoke was. He said he could feel it hit the back of his throat. He said he really wasn't feeling all that great, to be honest, at the moment, but he was able to get out of there. He is a truck driver. He was heading from Oregon to the Bay Area, and like many others, he had to abandon his truck. He said that a firefighter let him sit in his truck for a few moments to kind of collect himself, get some clean air, and we know that some vehicles actually burned after being abandoned in the Delta fire area. So these images sent in by Pardeep Mali. Thank you so much. We're so glad that you are safe tonight. And if we can take a look at that Caltrans camera once again, this is kind of a different picture. You can see this in Lakehead, the I-5 highway right there. It is nobody is out there, so that's the good news. Everybody was able to get out, and on this portion at least. So it's good to see an empty highway right there. That was the goal, to get everybody off of the highway with the Delta fire burning on either side of I-5. And also some video we received from Facebook from Kayla Tuthero. She says that she was actually swimming at the water hole near Volmers, and when she was leaving, she filmed this and she sent it in to us. And this is video that she took from the highway. You can see lots of trees, lots of dry brush in that area, just fueling those flames. But look how close it is to the highway. So this is another reason why. You can just see the pictures tell the story. They tell us the story why everyone had to turn around and get off of the I-5 as quickly as possible here. So this was very critical. When we spoke to people who were stuck out there on the phone, they told us that everyone was very patient with each other. It was kind of organized chaos out there, but everyone was kind of just helping each other, being cooperative, and getting everyone off that highway safely. So that is some good news tonight. And we are continuing our coverage of this Delta fire burning once again in Lakehead. We came live on air around 3:30, so about just a little over 2 hours ago. We've been bringing you continuous coverage, and we will continue to do so. Before we speak more about the Delta fire, I want to address the Curlin fire in High-Palm. This is very important information for folks in High-Palm. They sent out this email to us earlier at about 4:30. According to the Trinity County Sheriff's Office, the community of High-Palm, including Lake Mountain and Dead Man Point, is under evacuation order due to the Curlin fire. As of 3 hours ago, the U.S. Forest Service said the fire is continuing to grow west of High-Palm and is 100 acres and is 0% contained. This is the Curlin fire, 100 acres, 0% contained. The community of High-Palm, including Lake Mountain and Dead Man Point, all under evacuation orders right now. Approximately 200 personnel are assigned to this fire. It was reported around 3 o'clock on September the 4th, and the cause still undetermined, but of course under investigation. We'll be keeping a very close eye on the Curlin fire in High-Palm for you as well. In the meantime, the Delta fire burning in Lakehead, the U.S. Forest Service saying it's about 1,500 acres, and 1,000 acres were the initial reports between 500 and 1,000 acres, but we did hear from PIO earlier that it's about 1,500 acres and growing. And it is growing at a fast rate of speed with those conditions out there. I-5 closed down. Law enforcement was telling everyone to stay away, get off of the highway as well. And according to the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, and the evacuation center will be opening at the Mount Shasta Community Center. That's at 629 Alder Street in Mount Shasta. The fire started at Delta Volmers exit. It's been burning on both both sides of the highway, and it is burning north. So they've been evacuating everything north of Delta to the Siskiyou County line. This includes Volmers, Lemoyne, Pollard Flat, Gibson, Fisher, and Costella. There have been drivers trapped on I-5, as we showed you in that video earlier. Truck drivers have had to actually abandon their trucks and jump into cars to get away safely. One truck driver did get burned. He had to be treated, but thankfully this is the only injury that we have heard about so far. Southbound I-5 is closed at Mott, northbound I-5 closed at Fondale, I-5 closed down, and law enforcement telling everyone to stay away and get off of that highway. Also being told that the Lakehead rest area on southbound I-5 north of Lakehead has also been evacuated, and it is closed. So the rest area north of Lakehead has also been evacuated. It is closed. The U.S. Forest Service said full aircraft and ground response has been ordered. We had Julia Avery out at the Redding Airport. She was showing us pictures and just some accounts of just how quickly the response is, how they are coming back to refuel and going back to fight this fire. And it is a very organized, quick response, so that is some good news tonight. Several other agencies are also responding, including CAL FIRE as well as the Redding Fire Department. All right, Rob Elvington, are you set to talk about some weather and how critical these conditions are? Daylight isn't going to be lasting too much longer, so we're in a critical time for the firefight, Rob.
Yeah, we've got about 2 hours left before sunset, so they want to get in as many flights and drops as possible because, again, we've got some still pretty decent visibility. We usually have some of the best visibility on the first day of the fire. If you look close enough, just an absolutely massive smoke plume. Again, the smoke plume over 30,000 feet based on the radar. But if you look just off to the edge of that, we've got blue skies. So still some really good visibility once you get away from the main smoke plume. But as that smoke plume collapses here later tonight through the overnight hours, we're going to see a lot of that smoke getting trapped in the low levels, and it's going to really reduce the visibility through tomorrow morning and even into the early afternoon hours, and that's going to slow down the fight as we head into your Thursday. But again, the smoke plume really taking off just in the last 30 to 45 minutes. It was hovering closer to about 20,000 feet and then shooting up above 30,000 feet. So if you're looking off to the north, you've likely noticed it over the last 30 to 45 minutes. And it gets a little concerning when you see such a quick jump like that as that smoke plume races off up to 30,000 feet. It actually stretches and it allows for a little circulation to set up. So a little bit of spinning likely going on in that plume as it has grown. 93 degrees right now in Antlers. This is south of the Delta fire, but fairly close to it. This is in northern parts of Shasta Lake. Southeast winds at 2 miles per hour, gusting to 9 miles per hour, but we're seeing that humidity down to the low teens. Look at the visible satellite. If you look close enough, you can see that pyrocumulus cloud taking off towards the end of this animation, and you can really tell how tall it is because look at the big shadow that's being cast on the rest of the smoke plume. So you've got the main smoke plume, and then you'll notice all this black showing up east of that pyrocumulus cloud. That's the shadow as the sun's starting to get a little bit lower in the sky off to the west. So a really massive smoke plume, pyrocumulus cloud taking off on that western edge of the Delta fire. Also, of course, we're watching the Kirtland fire. This is burning closer to the Trinity-Humboldt County line. That smoke plume is moving off to the north and northeast. This is in between Highway 299 and Highway 36 in the Hyde Palm area. But again, if you look close enough, you can really see how that smoke plume, pyrocumulus cloud has taken off towards the end of this animation. We'll zoom in closer. And the reason why that's a huge concern is because the smoke plume is venting for the fire. When you get these giant ridges of high pressure with no winds, a lot of that smoke gets trapped in the low levels and it suffocates the fire. But on a day like today, we've got a lot of venting. We've got some pretty strong south winds. We do not have a lot of sinking motion in the atmosphere, so that's allowing for that fire to vent itself, and that's allowing for it to breathe and then, of course, move very quickly. And again, if you look at this animation on the radar, you'll notice how it's slowly continuing to push off to the north. And this is only a 1 hour animation, so this is a pretty quick moving fire right now. Again, there's Pollard Flat, and when we started coverage about 2.5 hours ago, the fire was south of Pollard Flat, so it kind of gives you an idea how quickly this fire is moving. There's a look at the latest. Wow, it's now up to 40,000 feet, so that is pretty concerning to see it shoot up so fast. So now we're seeing the smoke plume up to about 40,000 feet. Let's take a look at the see if there's any circulations or spinning going on, and it's hard to really pick out much, but definitely concerning about any little spin ups that we can see with this fire because with that smoke plume taking off to 40,000 feet. So again, something we'll have to continue to watch. A quick check of the Kirtland fire. Looks like that smoke plume not as impressive anymore on the radar, but that's just based on what the radar's seeing. Of course, it could be a little bit different than what the radar is picking up. Tamara, if you're ready, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Rob. Right now, KRCR News Channel 7's Brianna Haney is joining us with some people affected by the Delta fire. And Brianna, we're finding you along I-5 with some evacuees, correct?
And I'm here with Stacy, Melanie, and Nikki. They're all stopped here at Fondale Road off of I-5. So right now, we're all pretty much hanging out in the back of a pickup truck. So, Stacy, can you tell me what kind of led you to be here right now?
I got informed at work that my road had a fire on it. And so came rushing to get home and can't get home. And so a lot of us were in town for the day. I know I'm still packed up from car fire, but that doesn't do us any good. Some of our other family and friends are still on Dog Creek where the fire is, and they're evacuated, but they can't get out towards the freeway. So we're just trying to keep tabs on what's going on.
Wow. So you are in contact with people, and so at your house, do you have any pets? Is any?
Yeah. Last I heard that the fire crew let them out, like open the gate. So I hope they left. I don't know. I hope they're okay.
Well, I hope so too. Sorry about that. Okay. Well, Melanie, what can you tell me about how you got here? I know you have some connections to.
I was actually doing traffic control out on the car fire, and I got a Facebook message from a friend in the Lakehead area telling me that there was a fire on my road, and I tried to go home so I am still packed from the car fire too. But like Stacy said, that's no good, so we're just waiting it out to see what happens, if we still have homes or not to go to.
And where are you located?
I'm located about a mile down Dog Creek Road.
Okay. So pretty much right near where a lot of the evacuations are. Mm-hmm. Have you been in contact with anyone up there so far?
Yes, my husband was up there getting our animals and some things at Stacy's and going out the back of Dog Creek out to Trinity Center to get out.
And so what is your plan if you get stuck here and you're not able to get home anytime soon?
Well, fortunately, I have lots of other friends that live in town here in Redding, or we'll get a motel, and hopefully we'll know soon enough if we can go home.
I hope so. And Nikki, so you're in a little bit of a different situation. You're not formally evacuated yet.
Not yet, hopefully not. But I was at a luncheon today with the sewing group that I'm in, and 3 of the ladies at the luncheon live on Dog Creek. And they got a call, and it was and then they called other people, and I called, and I headed up the road, hoping that I would be able to get home, because usually they'll let people that live in Lakehead proper go through. But that wasn't the case this time. And then I ran into all of these guys, and I'm worried about my friends. We've already heard that, possibly somebody we know in Lemoyne has already maybe lost their home. So it's just, this has been the worst. For the car fire, just, recently unpacked, and it's like, and we don't know. The last fire at Dog Creek was caused by a transient who lit a fire on the side of the road. And I don't know if this is correct, but I heard that he was let out of jail a couple of days ago and was seen in Lakehead again. So I don't know if that was the case or what. And then somebody else said that a hay truck caught on fire, and that was the cause. So. Yeah. But, we're all worried for another couple of ladies just drove up that live on O'Brien Mountain. They can't get home either. But Lakehead's a really special little community, and we all, look out and care for each other, so.
Yeah. And have you guys made it through a lot of fires before? Is this...
I've lived there 31 years. I know these guys have lived there a long time, too. Yeah. been evacuated before and stuff. But
1989 was a big year. We had a big fire,
Big fire
through
in 89.
our area and the main Lakehead area in 1989. But this is
And then another
second
one,
time that it was so big.
the High Complex was in 99. That was a huge fire, too. So, I mean, we pay a price to live in this beautiful country, but it's still scary. You know? And I know, you know, when I thought I was going to be evacuated with car fire, I was worried about my cats. You know, would they be there? Would I be able to get them out? And, you know, so it's hard to think about when you get evacuated. What, you know, what do you take? What's important? You know, it's just like your mind's going really fast.
Thank you so much, all of you, for talking to me right now. So again, I'm on Fondale Road off of I-5. This is Brianna Haney reporting for KRCR News Channel 7.
Thank you so much, Brianna. Just into the newsroom, the U.S. Forest Service confirming 2,000 acres on the Delta fire with 0% containment. So just in from the U.S. Forest Service saying that the Delta fire has grown to 2,000 acres and there is no containment at this time. Right now, you are looking from some video that was sent in to us earlier from Andy Wardinsky. This is from the Lemoyne exit around 3:30. That's about the same time we went on air today to bring you the story of the Delta fire burning very rapidly. Lots of people in danger there. You can see on I-5 earlier being told to evacuate. They had to turn, go the wrong way on the highway to get out, but we spoke to several people who were in that unfortunate situation on the phone, and they all told us that everyone was very cooperative. It was kind of organized chaos, but they were all able to get out of there safely. So that is the good news tonight, especially when you look at the proximity of this fire to the road there. The pictures that we're showing you that viewers have been sending us, they help us to tell the story. They tell the story right on their own there. You can just see just how dangerous the situation was. We also have some video in from viewer Pardeep Molly. I spoke to Pardeep a short while ago. He was on I-5 when the fire started, and he's a truck driver. You can hear him coughing, and that's not your run-of-the-mill cough either. He was breathing in lots of smoke and soot and ash in the air. You can see a piece of ash just landing on his lip there. So he was not in a very fortunate situation there himself. He had to get out of his truck, and a firefighter actually let him sit in his truck for a few moments just to regroup. He's a truck driver heading from Oregon to the Bay Area. Like many other people, he had to abandon his vehicle. And we know that some vehicles have actually burned out there after being abandoned in the Delta fire area. But fortunately, only one injury that we have heard of so far. A truck driver got burned and was treated. So far, that is the only thing that we have heard so far. And we do have a Caltrans camera to show you. Do we have that image just to show the difference after everyone was evacuated? You can see no cars on the highway there, lots of white smoke coming up from that plume. So a different image there. It's just good to see no other cars out there on this portion of I-5 because, as we've been talking about, it's burning on either side, making for a very, very dangerous situation. And we also have some video from Facebook from Kayla to the Roast. She says that she was swimming at the water hole near Volmers, and this was when she was leaving. She filmed this. This is just another incredible picture of just how dry that brush is. You can see how dry it is. It's just fueling those flames right there. Lots of black smoke coming up from this area, and just how close this was burning to the highway. So another image just telling the story, telling us how critical it was for these people to get off of I-5 as quickly and efficiently as possible. And we're also continuing our coverage of the Delta fire, once again burning in Lakehead. The U.S. Forest Service says now it is 2,000 acres with no containment. I-5 simply closed down, as you can see by those images. Law enforcement telling everyone to stay away from I-5 and to get off of the highway. They've been doing that all afternoon long. According to the Shasta County Sheriff's Office, and evacuation center will be opening up at the Mount Shasta Community Center. That is at 629 Alder Street in Mount Shasta. This fire started at Delta Volmers exit. It's burning on both sides of the highway. It is burning north. They're evacuating everything north of Delta to the Siskiyou County line. That includes Volmers, Lemoyne, Pollard Flat, Gibson, Fisher, and Costella. Dog Creek Road is also evacuated. Now, there have been drivers trapped on I-5 earlier, as we've been telling you. Truck drivers, they had to actually abandon their trucks and jump into cars to get away safely. One truck driver was burned and was treated. That's the only injury we've been told about so far. Southbound I-5 is closed at Mott. Northbound I-5 closed at Fondale. I-5 closed down, and law enforcement telling everyone to stay away and get off of the highway. We're also being told that the Lakehead rest area on southbound I-5 north of Lakehead has been evacuated and closed. The U.S. Forest Service said that full aircraft and ground response has been ordered. Several other fire agencies also responding to the Delta fire, including CAL FIRE as well as the Reading Fire Department. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back with continuing coverage of the Delta fire. Please stay with us.
There are over 58,000 children in foster care in California alone. Children First Foster Family Agency is